A young man, at just 22 years old, started a movement that would change American politics. Even Donald Trump recognized his power. But the real story behind this alliance is far more complex than you think. When Charlie Kirk founded Turning Point USA in 2012 at just 18 years old, no one expected he would forge such a close alliance with one of America's most powerful political figures. Born in Illinois, Kirk had been interested in politics from an early age. He served as student council president in high school and made the bold decision to focus directly on activism instead of going to college. This courageous decision would completely change the course of his life. But here's the shocking part. Kirk initially kept his distance from Trump. During the 2016 election, Kirk hesitated to support Trump. As a young, idealistic conservative, he thought Trump didn't align with traditional Republican values. Kirk preferred candidates like Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio at the time. He would tell his friends, "Trump is a showman. He's not the serious leader we need." So what changed? This is where everything begins. In mid-2016, Kirk realized something. Trump's messages resonated with his target audience, young Americans. America first, rhetoric, immigration policies, anti-establishment stance. These were exactly the same themes Kirk had been advocating for years. One of Kirk's close advisors from that period recounts, "Charlie came to our room after watching Trump's Iowa speech and said, 'This guy speaks our language.'" Kirk told his close friends at the time, "This guy has a chance to win, and we need him. But you haven't seen the biggest surprise yet." Turning Point USA's budget was in trouble at the time. Kirk was looking for a powerful sponsor to grow his organization. With just a $50,000 budget, he was trying to operate in 30 states. The Trump campaign was looking for a bridge to reach the young voter base. The statistics were brutal. Trump's support among the 18 to 29 age group was only 23%. Hillary Clinton was leading by a wide margin at 67%. Both sides could benefit from each other. But was this just a calculated partnership or a genuine ideological bond? When Kirk made this decision, the reaction from those around him was harsh. Some major donors threatened to withdraw their support, but Kirk was determined, and he would soon realize this was the right decision. In the final months of 2016, Kirk made a historic decision. He launched the Students for Trump movement through Turning Point Action. This wasn't just a support campaign. It was a complete political revolution. Kirk began organizing young people on university campuses for Trump. The strategy was simple but effective. Find local leaders on every campus, train them, and have them spread Trump's messages. A member of Kirk's campaign team describes those days. Charlie worked 18 hours a day. He'd wake up at 6 a.m. and talk to students in different states until midnight. You won't believe this. Kirk's strategy was so effective that Trump's support among young voters rose from 23% to 36%. This 13-point increase was critical enough to change the fate of the election. Young vote margin in Michigan, 2,000 votes. In Wisconsin, 3,000 votes. In Pennsylvania, 5,000 votes. The young voters Kirk organized played a decisive role in Trump winning these critical states. Trump noticed this, and he began to see Kirk not just as an ally, but as an indispensable asset. On election night, when the results became clear, Trump called Kirk and said, "Charlie, you made this happen. The young people voted for us." But the real test was yet to come. During the first year of Trump's presidency, a private meeting took place between the two men. Trump Tower, 26th floor, midnight, just the two of them. Even security details waited outside. This meeting never made it to the media. But Kirk told his inner circle about this night. "That night, Trump showed me the real face of politics. Charlie," he said, "you're not just an activist, you're a general." Trump made Kirk an important offer that night, a special advisor position at the White House, but Kirk declined. Why? "TPUSA is more important," he said. "Changing the system from outside is more effective than changing it from inside." This decision both surprised and impressed Trump. Very few people would turn down a White House position. From that moment on, Trump began to look at Kirk differently. In March 2025, Trump appointed Charlie Kirk as a member of the Board of Visitors of the U.S. Air Force Academy. This wasn't just a symbolic gesture. This appointment made Kirk an official part of the American defense system. A 29-year-old activist was gaining a voice in the management of one of the country's most prestigious military institutions. In the Academy's history in Colorado Springs, appointing someone so young to the board was unprecedented. Traditionally, these positions were filled by retired generals, former politicians, or people with defense industry experience. Critics asked, what experience does this young man have in military education? Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren wrote on Twitter, "Our military academies should not be tools of political games. This appointment is inappropriate." Trump's response was clear. Charlie Kirk is the evangelist of American freedom. You can't find anyone better than him when it comes to raising our youth with the right values. But this appointment didn't just show Trump's confidence in Kirk. It was also preparing Kirk for the next stage of his political career. But there was something you didn't know yet. When Kirk started this position, he was invited to a secret meeting with women at the Academy. There, he learned the students' real thoughts about the Trump administration's education policies. The result was shocking. What we saw on television screens was just the tip of the iceberg. Trump said this about Kirk at the memorial ceremony. Charlie Kirk is immortal. He is a legend who instilled the spirit of American freedom into young generations. When the two men stood side by side on stage, it was impossible to miss how strong the chemistry between them was. Contrary to Trump's usually distant demeanor, his warmth toward Kirk surprised everyone. Those present at the ceremony noticed that Trump's eyes welled up when talking about Kirk. This was an emotional moment we rarely see from Trump. When Kirk's family thanked Trump after the ceremony, Trump said, "Charlie was like a son to me. He wasn't just an ally, he was a true friend." But what happened behind the scenes that night changed everything. There was a brief meeting between Musk and Trump. The media interpreted this as an emotional moment because of Kirk's death. It was thought that the two tech giants had come together in this situation. Trump later categorically denied this. That meeting had nothing to do with Charlie's death. Elon and I discussed other matters. Why was this statement so important? Because Trump wouldn't allow Kirk's memory to be used for political bargaining. Because Trump felt the need to prove that his relationship with Kirk was completely sincere and personal. He didn't want even Kirk's death to be mixed up in other political calculations. This attitude tells us something important. The bond between Trump and Kirk had reached a point beyond mere political opportunism. One of Trump's former advisors explains this situation. Trump truly trusts very few people. Charlie was one of them. He didn't see him just as an ally, he saw him as an heir. There was another incident that showed what Kirk meant to Trump. When Kirk had a heart attack in 2023, Trump sent his private jet to have him transferred to Mayo Clinic. This detail never reached the public. But was this relationship always perfect? Of course not. Conflicts between two strong characters were inevitable. According to sources, Kirk and Trump occasionally had disagreements, especially on these issues. 1. Tactical differences. While Kirk proposed more systematic and long-term strategies, Trump preferred making sudden decisions. Kirk's 10-year plans made Trump impatient. 2. Media approach. While Kirk advocated for more measured language on social media, Trump continued his aggressive tweets. Kirk said, "This is losing young voters." 3. Youth policies. While Kirk wanted to focus more on education reform, Trump prioritized economy and immigration issues. But the biggest conflict occurred here. In 2022, Kirk openly criticized Trump's decision to support Mehmet Oz for Pennsylvania Senate. According to Kirk, Oz was not a real conservative. Trump reacted harshly to this. He didn't answer Kirk's calls for 2 weeks. Kirk's inner circle describes this situation. Charlie was very upset. He was afraid of losing Trump's support. This tension lasted about 3 months. Trump's name stopped being mentioned at TPUSA events. Kirk began acting as if he supported other candidates. So how was this conflict resolved? During the 2024 election process, mainstream media and liberal lobbies targeted both Trump and Kirk. The New York Times labeled Kirk as Trump's young generation propagandist. CNN tagged Kirk's university campus events as radical indoctrination. In the face of a common enemy, the two allies united their forces again. Kirk said at that time, "The small disagreements between Trump and me are nothing compared to the great threat we face." The reconciliation process went like this. When the FBI began investigating some of TPUSA's events, Trump was the first to call. He told Kirk, "Charlie, I won't leave you alone. This attack is against me." Trump also showed that he appreciated Kirk's loyalty. He began inviting him to public events more often. He invited him to private dinners at Mar-a-Lago. That's when the real partnership was formed. Kirk's close friends described this period. They were no longer just political allies. They were two people who truly loved each other. What made the bond between the two leaders so strong was their complete alignment on fundamental values. But this alignment didn't happen by chance. America First philosophy. Both prioritized American interests over global pressures. Kirk said, "We must think of our own youth first," while Trump said, "America first." Immigration policy. They agreed on controlled and limited immigration policy. Kirk's merit-based immigration proposal formed the theoretical foundation of Trump's policies. Education reform, protecting conservative values against liberal indoctrination. Kirk had even more radical views than Trump on this issue. He said, "Universities must be reconsidered." Freedom of speech, complete alignment in the fight against social media censorship and cancel culture. Together, they organized coordinated attacks against big tech. Economic nationalism, protecting American workers and supporting domestic production. Kirk's Economic Nationalism for Young Americans program was the youth version of Trump's economic policies. This alignment wasn't just coincidence. Kirk had the role of systematizing Trump's vision and transmitting it to young generations. Trump's instinctive policies were supported by Kirk's academic work. An economist comments, "Kirk put Trump's populist messages into an intellectual framework. This made them very powerful." Trump's reaction after Kirk's death showed how deep this relationship was. Charlie's legacy will continue to live with the movement he founded. He wasn't just my ally. He was the guardian of the American spirit. Trump continues to provide financial support to Turning Point USA. He strives to keep the organization strong in Kirk's absence. It's said that he covers 30% of TPUSA's annual budget from his own pocket. He also maintains close relationships with Kirk's family. He regularly calls Kirk's mother every month and plays golf with his father. Trump's steps to keep Kirk's memory alive are impressive. He established a scholarship program bearing Kirk's name. He regularly speaks at TPUSA events. He shares Kirk's articles on Truth Social. He started an annual award called Charlie Kirk Leadership Award. But the real question is, will Kirk's death weaken this movement or strengthen it even more? Early signals are promising. TPUSA memberships increased by 40% after Kirk's death. Young people are participating more with the slogan, "For Charlie's Legacy." Trump summarizes this. Charlie is immortal because his ideals live on. The relationship between Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump was one of the most interesting partnerships in modern American politics. What began as a calculated alliance where both sides tried to benefit from each other eventually transformed into a genuine ideological and personal bond. Kirk gave Trump the opportunity to reach the young voter base. Trump brought Kirk to the center of mainstream politics, but ultimately, both gained much more from each other. Kirk gained political legitimacy, a large platform, a chance to make history. Trump gained the next generation, a sustainable movement, and ideological air. This partnership was critical not just for that period, but for the future of American conservatism. When Kirk's systematic approach combined with Trump's charismatic leadership, The result was a new generation conservative movement. The chemistry between the two characters was also real. Beyond political calculations, there was a bond similar to a father-son relationship. Trump saw the idealistic side of his youth in Kirk. Kirk found the power and influence he wanted to achieve in Trump. In conclusion, the union of two strong characters created a historic partnership that shaped the American conservative movement. This partnership didn't end with Kirk's death, rather it became legendary. Today, Kirk's photo is at every TPUSA event. Kirk's name is mentioned in every Trump speech. This is much more than a calculated partnership. This is a legacy. What would you think? How would you evaluate such political alliances? Sincere friendship, calculated partnership, or could it be both? Trump's final words perhaps sum up everything. Some people work just for elections. Charlie worked for generations. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Tell us in the comments what you want to see for more detailed videos about Charlie Kirk and Trump.